South Korea's parliament voted to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol. This was after Yoon Suk-yeol refused to step down after his failed attempt at putting the country under martial law. Now they just need to wait for the decision to be finally adjudicated by the country's constitutional court. While Yoon Suk-yeol's fall from grace is an interesting story, it is far from being the most interesting impeachment story from Asia. That might actually belong to Abdurrahman Wahid, Indonesia's former president. He was impeached because he was way too funny. Okay, not exactly that, but he is indeed very funny and often used that to dodge several controversies and important issues. And it was his dodging that actually got him impeached. Gus Dur, a man of humor and headlines. Gus Dur wasn't your typical politician. He was a respected Muslim cleric with a great sense of humor, a talent for sarcasm, and a habit of saying whatever popped into his head. He often dozed off during official meetings and sometimes shrugged off criticism with jokes that left his opponents fuming and his supporters giggling. When he was asked about falling asleep during an important meeting, he simply responded, "Why stay awake when they only talk about nonsense?" On another occasion, after falling asleep during a long speech, he joked, "I wasn't sleeping, I was meditating, duh." When he took office in 1999, Indonesia was still recovering from the chaos of Suharto's 32-year rule and the Asian financial crisis. People had high hopes that Gus Dur, with his progressive ideas and laid-back attitude, would bring calm. Instead, what followed was 2 years of political mayhem and comedic blunders. So yeah, Indonesia may have not gotten the kind of economic recovery they were hoping for, but at least they got to laugh a lot. The Bulog Gate and Brunei Gate scandals. Gus Dur's downfall began with two bizarre corruption allegations. First, Bulog Gate. The State Logistics Agency, or Bulog, mysteriously lost 4 million during Gus Dur's presidency. But when questioned where it was, Gus Dur's famously quipped, "I don't know, maybe it walked off on its own." The response became legendary, as if corruption scandals could vanish like socks in a washing machine. But more importantly, a lot of people also was a little pissed because, come on now, this is a corruption case. You have to take it seriously. Next is Brunei Gate. In another curious incident, Gus Dur allegedly accepted a 2 million donation from the Sultan of Brunei. Gus Dur claimed the money was for humanitarian aid, but when pressed about where it went, he shrugged and joked, "Let's call it a misunderstanding." His casual response sent critics into a frenzy, and his supporters a big round of laughter. Firing ministers on a whim. Gus Dur had a tendency to make impulsive decisions. He fired key ministers without warning, including those from his own coalition, often without explaining why. It was as if the government was his private chessboard and he enjoyed knocking over pieces just to see what would help. When asked why he dismissed certain official, he famously replied, "I had a dream and God told me to fire them." This left the public scratching their heads and political allies wondering if they would be next. When his reputation started tanking, he didn't make any effort to improve his relationship with the media, to just help his reputation recover a little bit. Instead, he told journalists that, I quote, "I'm not worried. Half of what's written about me isn't true, and the other half isn't so important." The final straw, declaring a state of emergency. As the political heat intensified, Gus Dur decided to outwit his rivals with a bold move. He declared a state of emergency and dissolved parliament. This was to show everyone how strong he was, but instead, it was like a comedian trying to pull off a dramatic Shakespearean monologue. No one took him seriously. The parliament and the military went about their way. They continued working. And since they were already fed up from all the jokes and not taking serious things so seriously, they decided to play a joke of their own. Except it's not a joke, it's real. They ignored his order and responded with impeachment proceeding. Gus Dur, ever defiant, reportedly said, "That's fine. I'll just go back to being a cleric. It's less work anyway." The impeachment and farewell. In July 2001, Gus Dur officially impeached from incompetence and alleged corruption. As he left the presidential palace, he waved to supporters with a smile and cracked one last joke. He said, "Why worry? I'm not losing a job. I'm gaining more sleep." A funny leader in serious times, Gus Dur's impeachment was a mix of political drama and comedy, but also carried deeper lessons. Number one, humor has limits in politics. While Gus Dur's jokes made him lovable, his casual attitude towards serious issues like corruption and governance eroded trust. The need for stability is second. Post Suharto, Indonesia needed strong leadership to navigate its economic and political recovery. Gus Dur's whimsical decisions, while entertaining, created more confusion than progress. And lastly, staying true to yourself. Despite his impeachment, Gus Dur never abandoned his principles. He remained a beloved figure in Indonesia for his humor, wit, and advocacy for pluralism. Ultimately, Abdurrahman Wahid may have been an imperfect leader, but his presidency reminds us that even in the toughest times, laughter can be a tool for connection and a shield against chaos. Gus Dur's story is proof that sometimes, even in politics, you can't take yourself too seriously. That was a lot. But I hope that you liked it as much as I enjoyed it. And please give this a thumbs up. Consider giving it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe and hit that notification button. And share the video if you can. Please follow me on Patreon. There is a free membership and there's also a paid membership. There are things that I discuss there that I don't discuss here. Also follow me on Twitter or X and on Instagram. Thank you.